Hey, Gabriel,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
Today I'm sheltering in place in my kitchen, which is also a closet because I live in a studio.
That's amazing. As we are doing like a video conference and it's not only audio, I can just feel like I'm in a different world right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can see my shelves, some
Mm-hmm.
mediocre artwork.
You know where I work? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, as always, I'm in my living room. So no changes here. I have like a beautiful landscape on the
Your
background.
Zoom background is just spectacular. It's making me want to travel.
Oh, if you could only do it. And it's like, if you see that house probably was an Airbnb
I
until
was
two
just
months
thinking,
ago.
how many of these can I rent?
And now they
Probably all of them.
disappear. Yeah. Now they are no longer Airbnbs because they went out of business.
Did you hear that Tahoe is giving out $1,000 fine if you rent an Airbnb right now?
Well, I don't know that, but that makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense
Yeah.
because I assume that like with the good weather, people are going to be like hard, you know, trying really hard to just travel, even if it's locally. All right, so just moving to more earthly topics. This week we watched the two phases of January, and I think that it was your pick, Blake. Why did you pick it?
It was my pick, and the reason I picked it is that I'm a YouTube premium member, which means they have a very small um, selection of films that are available completely for free, and most of them are pure shit. So bad that they're good, and I've been watching many of them. And then it recommended me this movie, so I clicked on it, and I was like, hey, this doesn't look like shit. So I looked up some reviews and I was like, oh, this is supposed to be really good. So I just watched it. And then I was like, hey, Jose, watch it. Let's talk about it on a podcast.
Yeah, I have to say that I didn't hear anything about this movie before you mentioned it the other day. I'm like pretty
That's what blew
surprised.
my mind because this is my type of movie. I really like Kirsten Dunst. Viggo Mortensen's okay. And that Isaac guy, I actually like him when he's not in Star Wars. But I was really surprised I didn't hear anything about this movie.
Well,
I should have.
he was also in Annihilation.
In what?
In Annihilation,
That he was. And wasn't he in Ex Machina?
yeah, he was.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was the genius guy.
And wasn't he in the movie about the folk singer that the Coen brothers did? Wasn't that him?
Oh, you may be right. Let me just check. That was what 2013. It's been a lot of stuff inside Llewyn Davis. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
No.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't remember about that one. Yeah, and he's been in a lot of stuff. I still not sure if he's good, or he's just having like a good moment because he's young and pretty.
I feel like he can act. He's not very versatile, but there's certain roles I think that he does pretty well. I thought he was pretty good in The Two Faces of January, which I thought for 3 days the name of it was The Two Faces of Athens. I don't know why.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that they never explain why that's the title. I mean, you can imagine it, but
Yeah.
so just for giving like a brief summary before like, we just talk about if we liked it or not. This is based on a Patricia Highsmith novel. So basically, it's the classic thriller mystery story that she really likes, uh, and it's about a couple of American supposedly tourists that they are in Athens, and they meet this tour guide that is another American from New Jersey. Where was he from? Well,
He
doesn't
said
matter.
Maryland or Massachusetts, something like
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't really matter. He's American too. Uh, and they start having some kind of relationship. Like he starts helping them out because at the beginning, how the characters are presented, they look like just innocent tourists, but they are just running away from a debt that they have back in America. Basically, the main guy that is played by Viggo Mortensen of these tourists, of these American tourists, he's married to I was going to say Kate Winslet.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst, sorry. Kirsten
Shame on
Dunst.
you.
And he's a con artist that just con a lot of money to many, many investors. And they are just traveling around Europe, spending like a lot of money and trying to run away from the PI, the private investigator that is just hunting them down. So they have like an incident in the hotel and he accidentally kills the guy. So when he's trying to just dispose of the body, leaving him in the hotel room, they run into this kid, into the tourist guide, and it's when things start like getting a bit more involved. He tries to help them out to just getting another identity and running away from the country, and there is more craziness that ensue. And at the end, basically everyone except Oscar Isaac dies.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. but don't worry because everything gets solved and the good guys win.
It wraps things up very nicely at the end.
Yeah, I have to say overall, and I know that we're going to be discussing a bit more about the specific parts of the story. I like it a lot. I mean, I like it a lot. I think that there's very conventional good cinema here.
Yeah, I would say that.
Is like I don't think that the guy tries to do anything new. I think that it's like very by the books kind of, a story. I mean, not a story, but at least like the direction is like pretty by the books about like, okay, it's well paced, it's well directed, but I didn't see anything. And I know that it's like just falling a bit into the nitpicking more than anything else. I didn't see anything that it was like just groundbreaking or anything that I would remember in the future. I was comparing it as I was telling you at the beginning before checking that it was a Patricia Highsmith book, that there were several parallels with the talented Mr. Ripley. But when I come, like rich or people with money from America that they go to Europe and they end up like just going to small villages or whatever. In the case of talented Mr. Ripley, it's in Italy, it's in Sicily, no? But it wasn't
they end up in Venice. Do they start Venice?
No, they don't. They start in this small village.
Oh, that's right, where they live on the water. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I couldn't actually, that's the reason why I use this background, is that I couldn't detach myself from the talented Mr. Ripley while I was watching this movie. It's like, it was pretty hard for me not to draw the comparison to was like, but yeah, is that this is pretty similar to it. And when I check it, like, oh yeah, it's a Patricia Highsmith, book that inspired this. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's even harder now to not draw the comparison with it. So I liked it. Overall, I like that there is like a proper development of the characters. That is like at the beginning, you're even, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like in the first 10 minutes, you feel a bit of pity for Viggo Mortensen, Kristen Dunst characters. About like,
yeah.
Poor guys, they don't speak any Greek. They're going to be like just fined by everyone that is, around, and it's what Oscar Isaac character does at the beginning. There is like,
he screws them over multiple times. He pads his fee basically by robbing them cleverly.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like how the Viggo Mortensen character keeps evolving. It just makes him like the villain of the movie. Well, at the beginning, it's like everything is so gray area that if it's like, no, it's like they're like just the big things. It's like just unfortunate that this happens. I know the Viggo Mortensen character is the evil guy.
I really like. First off, you said it, and I've complained a lot about this recently about the lack of character development. I felt like this was the film's strong suit, and we kept discovering things about the character, but you always had to wonder because we only heard those things from their own mouths. We don't know what's true. Supposedly, the main guy went to Yale, right?
We don't know that,
but that's what he said, right? He said he went to Yale and he just didn't like the life his dad carved out for him, so he moved to Greece, and now he's a tour guide, and he's clearly ripping people off. And at first, Viggo Mortensen had just invested some money when the stock market crashed, and then it sounds more like he had a Ponzi scheme, and we just don't know. So tell me. I also think this is a forgettable film, while a very good film. We're not going to remember this a year ago, and that's why nobody remembers it in 2014, despite a very good cast.
Yeah, that was the feeling that I was having. Well, sorry, finish your thought.
But In the way that it's forgettable but good, I feel like it was a very good Hitchcock film.
I have like very conflicting feelings right now because you told me that you hate Hitchcock. So it's like, and you told me that you like this movie. It's like this
I
doesn't
don't
compute.
hate Hitchcock. I just find his films kind of like eh.
So you find this,
I find it in the sense of the twists and turns, and kind of the editing, which is very just straightforward, and
yep,
you're just left wondering about all of the characters and what's actually happening. And
yeah.
is Kirsten done sleeping with him? We don't know because Viggo Mortensen is drunk a lot. So I mean, it's just I just enjoy the ride, and it's not a ride I will probably ever want to go on. I would probably recommend this. I mean, I recommended it to you. I texted you while we were watching it, and I was like, "Have you heard of this? Because it's kind of good."
Yeah, I mean that's what I said. Like it's a solid film. It's a solid, entertaining film. But I agree with you that it's completely forgettable. The same way that I think that The Talented Mr. Ripley is an amazing film. You know, that is like just the directing is perfect, the acting is perfect, the screenplay is perfect. Well, perfect. It's like really good. Is
Right.
I had the feeling that in this case, everything doesn't live up to the potential, to the full potential that it could have. Is that the screenplay could be a bit better. It's like I don't like how everything gets wrapped up at the end. I'm like, oh, you just get shot right now, but I'm going to be like just solving everything. I'm going to be like telling you, like, hey, by the way, this is not the guy that killed my wife. It's like I'm the only guilty, and now I die. I feel like this is so I don't know in my face that I feel like all the kind of dichotomy or like the kind of who is the good guy, who is the bad guy here that they could have played a bit more with is like it got lost.
So I agree with you in that I felt like it wrapped things up a little too nicely at the end. I mean, two of the three were dead. It's not like, it was a happy ending. But I also felt like that was very true to his character. Viggo Mortensen's character looked out for himself, first of all, but he was willing to help out others. And then once he realized that, he was like, well, I'm screwed. I'm going to screw him too. I felt like that was true to his character.
Sure, but at the same time, when he's in the airport, with him, I like that scene when he realizes about like, oh yeah, I am being like just conned by this guy. You know, it's like at that point, it's like he realizes about like this guy is betraying him once more, and that's the reason why he goes to the police. So from that perspective, it's like that guy that just ran away from him is like at the end he comes out clean. It's like I felt like, look, this I don't know, it feels a bit more far fetched. And then the other
Did you
part of
catch?
those, yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, you go.
So the other part of it also felt like, look, this is a bit far-fetched for just closing everything. It's just giving resolution to the part of the Oscar Isaac character, not going back home for the funeral of his father, but going to the funeral of this guy. I was like, well, he looked like my father, so I guess that I can be there.
Did you get any sexual tension between Viggo Mortensen and Oscar Isaac?
No, no, and I was looking for it. I was looking for it from the perspective like, well, Patricia Highsmith, the talented Mr. Ripley, let's see.
Because
But
there
no.
was a review I read that said they had a nod to a possible Oedipal Oedipal situation, and I was like, wait, who? I mean, besides Oscar Isaac's clearly fucked up about his dad, um,
Yeah.
and Viggo Mortensen saw him as a replacement, but how that relates to Oedipus, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't think that I should go to the Edipo point. I mean,
Because
I
I was
felt
pretty
like,
sure Kirsten Dunst was sleeping with him at the end. I was like, oh yeah, they're doing it.
yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's like they're never 100% clear about it, you know?
Yeah,
And
never.
the other part, it's like, as I was telling you, it's like it doesn't live up to the full potential because I feel like the script is pretty blunt at some points about like how Viggo Mortensen progresses to be an asshole. It's like so blunt about like, no, I'm an asshole. And now he actually pushed my wife off the stairs and I kill her. It's like, I don't know,
It
man. I
was
mean,
an
I feel
accident. It was an
sure,
accident.
but like he was behaving, it's true that he was drunk most of the time, but it's like they they knew each other. It was not like just newly married like 2 months ago. It's supposedly they had been like in love for a while. It's like how everything like just went down the road, sort of like of the railroad tracks, like so quickly. It felt like I think that you could have done this in a bit more of a subtle kind of way instead of now he's evil.
Yeah, I also had the thought after only later discovering because of you that it's the same source material, and thinking about the talented Mr. Ripley, which we watched right together.
Yep,
I
we
think
did.
we do.
Yeah.
What this would have been in a different director's hand, because again, I don't think it was a bad movie. I think it's a good movie, but there was something that I felt was missing that could have been there, just like the talented Mr. Ripley.
So the other thing that I was going to be mentioning from the directing perspective, I think that is solid. But did you, and I know that maybe this is a bit more like nitpicking and getting a snob, but did you feel like he was abusing of close-ups?
Well, I didn't notice that, but that's not to say he wasn't.
So from my perspective, it's like I was trying to compare why every single time that I was the talented Mr. Ripley, I feel so engaged and everything feels so dreamy. I'm like, I want to go there. I want to be there. And these guys go to the bathroom and they just walk. I mean, there is a point that they talk about like, oh, what is there? Like, oh, like just some ruins. They say, wow, that for the average American is going to be like pretty exciting to be there. And that's what Patricia Highsmith was thinking about when she was writing those books. And I think that the talented Mr. Ripley captures that. It's like everything that they display, it has this kind of dreamy feeling about like, I want to experience that. That's like the life of my dreams. With this movie, I was feeling like, I don't care. They
Yeah,
may
it
be
was
in
very
Athens. Yeah,
romantic,
yeah,
uh, and this one was just very cut and dry. No, yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying.
yeah. And so that's the reason why I feel like this was really by the book. About like, if you want to shot this, you do this. But it was not like a notch above average. It was a
Yep.
bit more like, yeah, it's visual. I mean, there is nothing that I would say like this was terrible. Is like how someone would direct something like this. But I felt like this didn't live up to the full potential, to the full, how you say, like imagery that Patricia Highsmith probably had in her mind when she was working this.
So we already agree that it's not memorable. Would you recommend it?
I think so, if I can remember the movie, because
So only for the next 2 weeks.
but I fully agree with you. It's like I don't think that I'm going to remember in this movie like a year from now. If someone mentions it to me, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that was good, I think, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to remember why. So if someone asks me, is hey, do you know any other Patricia Highsmith adaptations? Besides Strangers on a Train and The Talented Mr. Ripley, I'm going to be like spending like a second, probably going to be like checking Google and I'll say, oh yeah, this movie was okay, I think. So
Yep,
there,
I
it
agree.
doesn't it doesn't leave me like a bad memory. It doesn't leave me like a red flag about like no, never talk about this movie ever again. It's not like Celine Dion goes bowling, you know. It's a bit more of a situation of it's good, but there is nothing too special about it. And the point that I feel a bit infuriated about it is like they had the opportunity for being more memorable.
Yeah, they did miss that opportunity for sure. I was just so blown away. Like, I think Kirsten Dunst is one of the more interesting actors working, or actresses working. Um, she had that long hiatus for depression or whatever. So I've paid close attention to stuff she's done because she's doing interesting films. Not
Yeah.
all of them are good, that's for sure. But I was just so surprised I hadn't heard of this movie. But I think a couple people saw it, but then forgot to tell other people about it.
And then they forgot about it.
Yep.
So did
Until
you
you
watch?
was like, we'll just have it free.
Yeah. So did you watch the second season of Fargo? I think that I told you
Don't
about
watch the
this.
first either.
Yeah, you can skip. Is that they are anthology kind of series, so you can just watch the second one. But the second one is like Kirsten Dunst, is the main actress, and it's really good. The role that she does there is really
And Melancholia. We can't forget
good.
Melancholia. She
That's
was
true.
naked
She's
in that
amazing.
stream.
Yeah, she does a really good job. So
So I'm very curious to know your score then, because I think we both feel the same about this movie.
yeah, so I have to say that I started with a number and I move it around because I have like the spreadsheet in front of me. As more that we actually discussed and we came to the agreement, not only the agreement, but it's that we formalized the thoughts that I have. Are like, this is good, but it's not something that I'm going to remember. Is like I would say that this is a six, a six. Well,
I was going back and forth between a 6 and a 6.5 because I do think this is definitely better than a mediocre film. How much better? Not that much. I'll give it a 6 too. 6 as well.
Six as well. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the thing is, you guys here in America, you guys use the A, B, C, D, E, F kind of a score rating? No?
A, B, C, D, F. Yeah.
A, B, C, D, F. There is no E. So in Spain, we actually use something different. Is that we use sobresaliente, notable, bien, aprobado. So it's something that is, how do you say, like highlighted over the average. That is like when you look at something, it's like, wow, that one. That's what A could be. That is a 9
Mm-hmm.
or a 10. Is that then you have a 7 or an 8. That is something that is like when you look with the tension, something notable. Notable? Is that a word in English?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like
Notable.
when you look at every single case, like, this is above average. It's like obviously above average. And then you have good. The good is 6.
Oh, so yeah. So if it's perfect.
Yep. And it's like then you have 5. That is like, yeah, they pass. They pass. It's like just borderline passing.
It's like
Uh,
average.
yeah, it's certainly the average. So I think that this is a 6 from the perspective that it's good, but it's not notable. It's like unfortunately it's not notable. It had the potential for being notable, but it's not.
I couldn't agree more. Seriously. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by this. I didn't watch another shitty YouTube movie. It was kind of a good YouTube movie.
So what I have to say is that this movie is for free, even if you are not a subscriber to YouTube. In YouTube, I opened it in YouTube without paying or anything,
Oh. I
and they
guess I just
actually,
assumed all those free movies were because I'm premium, but maybe they're just free to everyone.
I think they're free for everyone, and they say that
Wow.
it's free with ads. I didn't have a single ad during the movie or at the beginning of the movie.
It's because the advertisers forgot to put ads there because they forgot it existed.
As everyone forgets about the movie when the advertiser forgot about the movie. It's like, what? The
Were we
two
going to
faces
put
of
our ads
January?
on something?
Uh,
Okay. I don't think so.
so why do you think that is called the two faces of January? Now that we have talked about it.
I bet there's some sort of something in the book that explained it or you understand and that they just didn't put that in the movie.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the only reason that I could think about if there was not anything, specific, it was because of the two guys that they represented. As there is this kind of gray area of morality on both of them, is that they represent like a bit of the beginning of the year. There is like one of them, both of them are like just bad from a morality perspective, about like one of them like swindle tourists, and they play with them, and the other one is like just a con artist. And
And a murderer.
a
And
murderer too. Yeah, yeah,
right.
it's something like that. But Kirsten Dunst ends up like just in love with both of them.
So I wonder if her name is January.
Both of the guys, their name is actually January. So no, I thought about that. About like, okay, they are both bad, but at the same time, one of them is like gently bad, and the other one is like just a fucking murderer.
I guess we'll never know unless we read the book.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first book that I read from Patricia Highsmith. I like her.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never read any of her books.
Oh, you didn't read The Talented Mr. Ripley?
I thought it was just a movie.
So funny enough, it's like, don't you hate when a book becomes a movie and then they change the cover of all the editions of the book for just like, now a famous
Oh,
movie?
I can't stand that. I
So
can't stand.
when I read The Talented Mr. Ripley, all the editions were still based on the previous adaptation with Alain Delon.
Really?
Yeah, but it was after they released the Antonio Minghella version. So it was like,
Interesting.
that's weird because especially the title, it was a pleno sol, like full sunshine or something like that.
You're teaching me so much today.
I know, man. I know. If Purple Noon, it was called, no, Purple Noon was called in the States.
Did you see that version?
No, with Alain Delon. and they also have like the homoerotic, as you would expect.
Well, I know what I'm doing tonight.
So
Watching Strangers by the Lake.
exactly was the correct kind of homoerotic kind of movie. So any other thoughts about this movie? Should we close it up?
Not from what I can remember.
All right. So just closing this up. Next time we will talk about Sunshine. I think.
Sunshine, the Danny Boyle masterpiece.
Oh, okay. Let's see how that one goes. Okay. Well, I think that that's it. Thank you so much, folks, for listening.
Wash your hands.
Bye.